And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know, they used to call this Hump Day. This is Wednesday. We have got a fantastic show for you today. So we'll also just get right to it. I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently 99 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 70 degrees, and I'm pretty sure we haven't hit the hottest part yet. It's supposed to be like 103 or something like that at some point today. But you know what? I want you to know what's going on the show today. And so usually we have the same parts every day, just different players. And today we're going to still do what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then we'll continue our news segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. Well, on today's special segment, I'm going to tell you all about how to protect your assets from creditors and lawsuits for that matter. And then I'm going to answer your emails. Well, Dr. Wireless will be here, Joel Saltzman, and he's going to be talking about new wireless technology and all the things that are going on, new apps and new deals that are available. You're not going to want to miss that. But first of all, let's talk about the news. We've encapsulated the 10 most popular things so that you can get an idea of what's going on in the news today, and you can talk to your friends, your neighbors, your peers, your boss, I don't care who it is, and they'll kind of know that you know what's going on in the news. Here are the 10 things to know for Wednesday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories they're going to be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow too. And first off is the Islamic State group chieftain reportedly killed in Syria. If confirmed, the death of chief strategist Abu Muhammad al-Adnani would be a major blow to the extremist group, which has been on the retreat in Syria and Iraq. And European Union orders Apple to pay nearly $15 billion in back taxes to Ireland. You know, the move dramatically escalates the fight over whether America's biggest corporations are paying their fair share around the world. Well, we'll see what happens with that. And why victory for Hillary would carry a downside for Bill. You know what? If his wife wins the White House, Bill Clinton says he'll have no choice but to step aside from the foundation that has shaped so much of his post-presidential legacy. And Marco Rubio wins the GOP primary. This is a little bit surprising. The senator earns the support of Florida's Republican voters to seek a second term. He got into the race at the last minute after his failed presidential bid. You know, it's interesting. He didn't go for a lot of the votes and things because he didn't like the job. Now he went back to do it again. Well, where approaching storms are causing anxiety. Well, a tropical weather system threatens to bring strong winds and heavy rains to North Carolina's Outer Banks, while a popular and powerful hurricane could pass dangerously close to Hawaii. And clashes subside between the U.S.-backed forces in Syria. Western officials had expressed alarm that the fighting between Turkey's military and Kurdish-backed fighters has diverted their attention from the battle against the Islamic State group. Well, which one-time business allies appear headed down different roads? Google is set to expand a San Francisco carpooling program that could morph into a showdown with popular ride-sharing service Uber. Yep, you heard it. And how about number 8 on our list? It's Chris Brown is arrested on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon. A woman alleges that the singer pointed a gun at her face in his home. And who's dancing his troubles away? Well, shamed Olympic swimmer, get this, Ryan Lochte is among celebs named for the new season of ABC's Dancing with the Stars. Whoa, well, nothing fails to get me. And finally, Vikings quarterback suffers a freak injury in practice. Teddy Bridgewater's torn ACL leaves a team that entered the season with designs on a Super Bowl run shaken to the core. Yeah, I would think. Now, let's get into a little bit more in-depth news. Let's talk about Brazil's President Rousseff is ousted from office by the Senate. Brazil's Senate on today voted to remove President Dilma Rousseff from office, the culmination of a year-long fight that paralyzed Latin America's largest nation and exposed deep rifts among its people on everything from race relations to social spending. While Rousseff's ouster was widely expected, the decision was a key chapter in a colossal political struggle that is far from over. Rousseff was Brazil's first female president with a storied career that includes a stint as a Marxist guerrilla jailed and tortured in the 1970s during the country's dictatorship. She was accused of breaking fiscal laws in her management of the federal budget. The Senate has found that the president of the Federal Republic of Brazil, Dilma Rousseff, committed crimes in breaking fiscal laws, said Chief Justice Ricardo Lewandowski, who presided over the trial. Well, I just don't think that that's the end that we're going to hear here. That's not going to be the end of it anyhow. Well, let's talk about this, the latest anyway. Peña Nieto says Mexicans are hurt by Trump comments. I guess, the latest on the U.S. presidential campaign, Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto, I guess is how it's pronounced, says that Mexican people have been hurt by Donald Trump's past comments that painted them in a negative light. Peña Nieto told reporters following a closed-door meeting that misinterpretation or assertions had negatively impacted perceptions of Trump's candidacy. He added that the Mexican people have been hurt by the comments that had been made, but he said he's sure that Trump is genuinely interested in building a relationship that will benefit both countries. Peña Nieto spoke in Spanish throughout the whole meeting. After meeting with Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto, Republican nominee Donald Trump says that both countries must respect the other's right to build a border wall on their soil to stop the movement of people, illegal drugs, and weapons. Trump says he and Peña Nieto discussed his call for a border wall during their meeting, but did not talk about Trump's insistence that Mexico pay for it. He says that'll be for a later date. Trump says that having a secure border is a sovereign right and mutually beneficial. Mexicans have been outraged by the proposal. Yeah, I would think. You know what? I wouldn't think. Not all of them anyway. How about this? Clinton pitches her foreign policy to the American Legion. Portraying a vote for her as a patriotic act, Hillary Clinton made a vigorous appeal to Republican voters today, arguing that she would best uphold American values, care for the military, and protect national security interests. At the American Legion's annual convention in Cincinnati, the Democratic presidential nominee called the United States an exceptional nation and accused Republican rival Donald Trump of thinking that approach is insulting to the rest of the world. When we say America is exceptional, it doesn't mean that people from other places don't feel deep national pride just like we do, Clinton said anyway. It means that we recognize America's unique and unparalleled ability to be a force for peace and progress, a champion for freedom and opportunity. She said America must be a leader in the world because when America fails to lead, we leave a vacuum. That, my friends, is an absolute fact. Whether she said it, Trump said it, or anybody said it, it's a fact. And that's just the way it's going to be. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a slain Islamic State figure with a powerful leader with multiple roles. We'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:12 p.m. Pacific time. It is still 99 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire and sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 70 degrees. And we're talking news. And the first thing up here for you now is a slain Islamic State figure was a powerful leader with multiple roles. You know, with the killing of Abu Muhammad al-Adnani, the Islamic State group lost one of its most powerful figures, a militant with multiple roles, a propaganda chief, overseer of spectacular attacks in Europe, and a trusted lieutenant of the group's top leader. Al-Adnani was the mastermind of the extremist group's strategy of lashing out abroad with attacks that overshadowed its battlefield losses in Syria and Iraq. He formed militant cells in Europe to carry out organized attacks and inspired lone wolves who struck out on their own. Coming on the heels of the death of the group's war minister, al-Adnani's loss is likely to prompt a shakeup in the IS leadership and may force its shadowy leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, to address the loss of its most charismatic figure. Only al-Baghdadi is a more important leader, and al-Adnani was probably positioned to succeed al-Baghdadi if he was killed. Thomas Jocelyn, a researcher with the U.S.-based Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, said in an email to the Associated Press, somehow I got to tell you, I think that replacing these guys might take about 30 seconds. They don't seem to take very long when you think about it, what they're doing. Well, let's talk about a historic flight, a commercial flight from the United States, and it lands in Cuba. You know what? The first commercial flight between the United States and Cuba in more than a half a century landed in the central city of Santa Clara today, or this morning, I should say, reestablishing regular air service severed at the height of the Cold War. Cheers broke out in the cabin of JetBlue Flight 387 as the plane touched down. Passengers, mostly airline executives, U.S. government officials, and journalists, with a sprinkling of Cuban-American families and U.S. travelers, were given gift bags with Cuban cookbooks, commemorative luggage tags, and Cuban flags, which they were encouraged to wave. The arrival opens a new era of U.S.-Cuba travel with about 300 flights a week, connecting the U.S. with an island cut off from the most Americans by the 55-year-old trade embargo on Cuba and formal ban on U.S. citizens engaging in tourism on the island. Well, seeing the American Airlines landing routinely around the island will drive a sense of openness, integration, and normality that has a huge psychological impact, said Richard Feinberg, author of the new book, open for business, building the new Cuban economy. Well, also Wednesday, the U.S. Department of Transportation announced the carriers selected to operate routes to Havana. It would be Alaska Airlines, American Airlines, Delta Airlines, Frontier Airlines, JetBlue Airways, Southwest Airlines, Spirit Airlines, and United Airlines. You know what? I think it's a good thing. It's about time that we weren't doing any good the way we were going. Well, let's talk about this. General Forward poll. Here's the thing. Young black adults are less trusting of police. That's nothing new. Young Americans are about equally likely to say that they've had an encounter with police, but young black adults are much more likely than whites to say they've been arrested, harassed, or know someone who has been. A new Gen Forward poll says just today, 28% of the blacks say that they have been arrested after encounters with law enforcement. 24% say they've been personally harassed by police, and 53% say they know someone who has. The numbers are much lower for whites and Asian Americans, while Hispanics fall in between. You know what? Just bad stuff. It's about time we got something done and done right around here, don't you think? Yeah. Well, how about this? Obama is to open a conservation tour in Lake Tahoe and Hawaii. That's about 3,000 miles apart. President Barack Obama is opening a 2-day environmental tour aimed at showcasing conservation efforts before traveling to Asia, where climate change is high on the agenda for his final trip to the region. In Nevada on this morning, Obama plans to visit Lake Tahoe and speak at a summit dedicated to the iconic lakes preservation. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who also is on his final year in office, has hosted the summit for 20 years and asked Obama to attend. The president planned to hail federal and local collaboration on environmental protection while announcing modest new steps on clean energy and climate resilience. You know, the White House actually said that the Interior Department's dedicating $29.5 million to projects to improve forest health and reduce the threat of catastrophic wildfires in or near the Lake Tahoe region. The Environmental Protection Agency, meanwhile, spending a smaller sum to improve the quality of the lake's water by managing and reducing stormwater runoff in the region. So many things going on, so much stuff that's so important. It's just unbelievable. Well, let me leave you with this one. Can't not talk about it. GOP boss says LePage has flaws, but is passionate. Yeah. Well, the latest on the fallout from GOP Governor Paul LePage's obscenity-laced tirade against a Democratic legislator, the chairman of the Maine Republican Party says he doesn't deny that GOP Governor Paul LePage has flaws, but he also believes the governor is passionate. He's a passionate fighter for the state's people. GOP Chairman Rick Bennett said today that residents are understandably outraged by comments recently made by LePage. Last week, the governor left an obscene message on a voicemail of a Democratic legislator and accused minorities of driving Maine's heroin crisis. You know what? I didn't even know how somebody like that got to be a legislator. In any event, we're going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to deal with the IRS loses. In the first case they lost, well, an appeals officer cannot review consecutive tax bills. I'll tell you all about that after these brief messages. Don't go away. We've got a lot of great show for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry and a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. Get this. It's currently 100 degrees in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 102 degrees on its way down to 69 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 81 degrees and it is clear and sunny. And in Chicago, Illinois, it is 75 degrees and mostly cloudy. But right now, let's get to the IRS loser.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, this just sends, chills up and down my spine. Sets the hair up on the back of my neck. I just love this segment, the IRS loses. So you know what? Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. In this particular first case, the IRS loses. Appeals officer cannot review consecutive tax bills. Now here's the deal. A couple sought to avoid a levy to collect their 2000 taxes, but an IRS appeals officer ruled against them, noting that they had apparently underpaid their taxes in 2001 and 2002 as well. Now later, the IRS moved to collect the tax for those years. The couple went to the IRS appeals again, were assigned the same appeals officer, and he ruled against them again. They protested that the law requires an appeals officer to be impartial and to have no prior involvement with the tax being assessed. Here's what the IRS's position was. The appeals officer had no role in assessing the 2001 and 2002 taxes, but this is what the judge said. The appeals officer had previously used those tax bills as evidence against the couple, so he was not impartial, and they get a new hearing with a new officer. That's the way it ought to be. Well, how about this? The IRS loses. The tax court may review frivolous return penalties. Here's the case. A couple filed a return reporting their tax due and an overpayment and claiming a refund. They also wrote on the return that the IRS had violated their civil rights, mentioning a civil suit that they had filed against it. The IRS imposed a $500 frivolous return penalty as the result. They protested in tax court, but the IRS said that the court had no jurisdiction to review the penalty. Well, this is what the judge of the court said. Tax code changes made in 2006 gave the court jurisdiction to review these penalties. And here, in spite of the couple's statements, they apparently had filed an accurate return and didn't invoke any of the IRS's own list of frivolous arguments. So their case absolutely will be heard, with no matter what the IRS says. Let me give you one more. In this case, the IRS loses. Medical residents are exempt from FICA tax, right? Now, federal law says that FICA employment tax does not apply to wages earned for services provided to a college or university by a student enrolled and regularly attending classes there. So, a university said that it did not owe FICA tax on wages that it paid to its medical residents who worked in local hospitals. Well, here's the IRS's reply. IRS regulations state that students who work full-time do not qualify for exemption. Moreover, students who work full-time at hospitals do not attend classes at the university. Well, this is what the judge said. The IRS regulation is invalid because it contradicts the law, and a hospital setting is the necessary classroom setting for medical students. So the exemption applies. Now, doesn't that just make you feel dandy? Does me anyway. Well, you know what? Let's talk about wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. You hear me talk about it all the time. This is just a little bit like we call it the inside the IRS. This is just a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Well, you know, these are not actual tax court cases, but these are positions that the IRS has taken, and as long as you know what they are, you can kind of throw them right back into the IRS's face. Also, it's a good thing for you to know the kind of positions they're going to take in advance so that you don't go off and do something the wrong way. In this first case, watch your back when the IRS tells you that it's got a good deal for you. Yeah. Well, you know what? A good deal comes in the form of a letter that advises you to accept the terms of a global settlement that the IRS is offering to taxpayers who are involved in a common issue. Now, here's an example. Thousands of taxpayers were found to have maintained offshore bank accounts. They reported neither the money deposited into the accounts nor the interest earned on them. The IRS offered many of those the taxpayers a last chance to avoid huge penalties if they disclosed their wrongdoing. The strategy was, if the IRS tries to entice you into a global settlement, speak to a knowledgeable tax attorney who understands the IRS's limitations before deciding whether to accept. It is important to find out exactly what facts and evidence are in the possession of the IRS to determine whether it can prove its case against you. That, my friends, is the important part of what's going on around here. Well, there's also an IRS audit trap going on. Suppose that in the course of an audit, an agent asks you a question and you don't understand why that question is being asked. What do? You ask the agent why he or she wants to know. Don't answer any such question until you receive an understandable and acceptable answer from the agent. Here's an example. Let's just say that the agent asks where you went on vacation last year. Why would he want to know such a thing? He's probably trying to ascertain your standard of living and how the amount of income that you reported on your tax return jibes with your confessed lifestyle. Be careful about offering an answer that may be incriminating. Always, always, always consult with your attorney first. That, my friends, is what you really, really have to do. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, boy, have I got some great information for you. I'm going to tell you how to protect your assets from creditors and from lawsuits, and I'm going to do that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 100 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 102 on its way to 69 degrees. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, one, you're lucky, and two, it's 66 degrees and it is clear. It's also tomorrow morning at 12:33 a.m. If you're in Rome, Italy, it's 70 degrees and it's clear. You know what? Wouldn't you love to be in any of those places right now? I know that I certainly wouldn't mind any of those. How about this? Let's talk about how to protect your assets from creditors and lawsuits. You know, your personal assets are vulnerable to the claims of creditors, the government, individuals who might sue you, and perhaps an ex-spouse, even an ex-spouse. What can you do to protect them? Well, here's some sound ways to use the tax law and other means to protect your assets. Let's take a comprehensive approach here. There is no single action to bulletproof your assets from claims. You need to look at all aspects of your personal and business activities, and so there's some areas that you need to review. First of all, let's talk about insurance coverage. The liability limits on most homeowners and in auto insurance policies are just too low in light of the size of many of today's personal injury awards. So the solution to this? Add umbrella coverage, which picks up where those other policies leave off. For example, a $5 million liability policy is going to cost about $1,200 a year. Other insurance to assess? Well, you know what? If you are a professional, such as a doctor, attorney, or accountant, carry adequate professional liability coverage, also known as malpractice insurance. With an unlimited duration, continue coverage even after you've retired from practice, usually with a one-time premium that covers you against future claims arising from actions that were taken before you retired. Also, if you serve on a board of directors, including one for a nonprofit organization, make sure that the organization carries directors and officers coverage to protect you from claims that are arising from actions that you took or did not take in your capacity as a board member. How about prenuptial agreements? You know, those concerned with protecting property acquired prior to a marriage or ensuring that the rights of children from a former marriage should use a prenuptial agreement. This kind of contract spells out our property rights, among other things, and can protect your assets from your spouse's claims should your marriage actually fail. Now, if using a prenuptial agreement to protect retirement plan assets, be sure you have your new spouse sign a waiver of his or her rights to those assets. Now, the waiver must be signed after you get married. A prenuptial agreement does not work to protect retirement plan assets in the absence of a waiver. And if you are already married but don't have a prenuptial agreement, consider a postnuptial agreement to accomplish the same goals. And you know what? At the same time I'm saying that, I'm just saying good luck. Well, business organization. Think about it. Anyone owning a business should consider using a type of organization that provides personal liability protection. A corporation or a limited liability company can actually do this. However, owners should understand the limits of the legal protections. For example, a corporation shareholder who personally guarantees a third-party loan to his corporation is personally liable for the debt if the corporation fails to pay. Now, incorporation does not give any protection in this situation. How about the state of residence? Some states offer special protection for certain assets. For example, Florida allows residents unlimited protection for personal residences. Texas and Wisconsin exempt all IRAs from creditor claims. How about this? Retirement and education savings plans. You know, retirement plans and IRAs, investments held in qualified retirement plans such as a 401k accounts, they enjoy federal asset protection, meaning that they're protected against all creditors because of the Employee Retirement Security Act of 1974. They call that ERISA, and the Bankruptcy Abuse Prevention and Consumer Protection Act of 2005. There is a limitation, though. While funds in rollover IRAs are fully protected, there is a $1 million limit on protection for assets in a contributory IRA as opposed to a rollover. Now, rollover strategy? When rolling over funds from a qualified plan to an IRA, use an account that is separate from any contributory IRA to gain unlimited protection for the rolled over amount. Do not make any additional contribution to the rollover account. Continue to keep it separate from any contributory IRAs. Well, there's an option. When leaving a job or retiring, or for even stronger asset protection, consider keeping funds within a qualified plan rather than rolling them over to an IRA. Now, ERISA protection for assets held in a qualified retirement plan is impenetrable, meaning the creditors cannot get the funds under any circumstances. IRA funds enjoy only bankruptcy protection, so unless you go bankrupt, your funds are going to be vulnerable. Now, education savings plans? Well, funds held in 529 plans maintained by a state or eligible institution are exempt from creditors' claims in case of bankruptcy. Requirement on this, the account beneficiary must be the debtor's child, grandchild, stepchild, or step-grandchild. Now, there is a limitation. Funds contributed within 1 year of filing for bankruptcy are not exempt from creditors' claims. Contributions made more than 1 year but less than 2 years before filing are protected only up to $5,000. Now, full exemption applies after 2 years. Now, take note, your state may offer greater protection for 529 plan assets than allowed under the federal bankruptcy law, and you can choose this state protection over federal protection. You get that as an option. How about trusts? Well, you know what? Assets held in a trust for the beneficiary generally are protected from creditors' claims if the right type of trust is actually used. So here's some options. There's a spendthrift trust. This is a trust that includes a clause preventing undistributed income and principal from being used to satisfy the claims of a beneficiary creditor. For example, the beneficiary cannot assign his interest in the trust to a creditor to satisfy a debt. Usually, this type of trust is used only for a beneficiary other than the person who sets up the trust, such as that person's spouse, child, or grandchild. But be careful. Asset transfers to a trust may be subject to gift tax depending on the size of the gifts and who the beneficiary actually is. Well, how about a domestic asset protection trust? This trust designed to protect the assets of the trust creator from claims of his own creditors. Only certain states allow them: Alaska, Delaware, Nevada, Rhode Island, and Utah. Whether a resident of another state can protect assets by setting up a trust in one of these states has yet to be tested in court. So, for now, asset protection trusts probably work best for residents. How about a foreign trust? Set up in jurisdictions that do not enforce judgments of U.S. courts, these trusts are not necessarily unreachable. Before using them, discuss asset protection with an attorney who specializes in that subject. How about long-term care? Needing long-term care because of an accident, related injuries, or chronic illness can be financially devastating. Now, AARP estimates that 60% of those over age 65 will require some type of long-term care during their lives. Now, many people don't realize that standard medical policies and Medicare do not cover this type of care, which can quickly wipe out a lifetime of personal savings. So, a solution for this? Let's look at a couple of them. First one, those with a sizable chunk of assets to protect, generally $500,000 or more, should consider buying a long-term care insurance policy. For federal income tax purposes, part of the premium is a deductible medical expense. The portion depends on your current age. Now, state law may provide additional tax breaks. For example, in New York, there's a 20% tax credit for all such premiums. How about the second solution? There's another one here for you. Those with more modest assets who cannot afford long-term care premiums should consider transferring almost all their assets, other than assets exempt under Medicaid, to family members in order to qualify for Medicaid, which does pay for long-term care. Plan ahead, though. Transfers made within 60 months of a Medicare application are taken into account in determining eligibility and may prevent this government assistance. Those with family histories of chronic diseases that typically require long-term personal care, not covered by regular medical insurance policies, such as Alzheimer's disease, should discuss long-term planning with a knowledgeable elder law attorney. Find one near you through the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys, and their website is www.naela.org. And I can guarantee you'll be glad that you actually did that. There's no question about whether that's going to save you some money or not. It's definitely going to save you some money. Well, you know what? Before we go on a break, I want to remind you that we have our apps available. They're good for any of your smartphones. If you have a Windows product or an Android product, just go to googleplay.com. And if you have a Windows product, or not a Windows product, you can go there. But if you have a iPhone, go to the App Store. Just search Robert Cardoza Live. The app will pop up. It is absolutely free. Download it. That'll let you listen to us live if we're broadcasting live like we are now. And it'll also let you listen to all of our archive shows. They're all right there with a description of what the shows are all about. You know what? You tell all your friends about it. Give them the app too. You know, it's absolutely free. They'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And I can guarantee you this. I'll appreciate it too. So don't go away. We're going to be right back, and I'm going to answer your emails. The first one is actually about the statute of limitations, and the email comes from Mackenzie Hutchinson from Athens, Tennessee. We'll talk all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? It's time for me to answer your emails. Before we went on our break, I told you that this email came from Mackenzie Hutchinson from Athens, Tennessee, and asking about the statute of limitations. It says, when does the 3-year statute of limitations start on my tax return so it will be safe from an audit? Well, you know what, Mackenzie? Here's the deal. The IRS generally has 3 years to audit a tax return starting from the later of its original due date or the date on which it was actually filed. So, if you file your return on or before April the 15th, the 3-year statute of period starts on April the 15th. While if you file later, it starts on your return's actual filing date. Now, you need to be careful here. The limitation period is 6 years if your return understates income by more than 25%, and there is no limitation if your return, if you commit fraud on your return, or don't file at all. So kind of keep that in mind a little bit. Next email comes from Matteo Altamirano from Burton, Michigan, asking about donated shares. And he says, years ago, a friend donated shares of his private corporation to charity, claiming a deduction for their value, and had the charity redeem them for cash from the company, so he got a deduction for the stock that he donated. Now, I'm in a position to do the same thing. Is it still legal? Well, Matteo, here's the thing. Yes, it is. This is legal if the redemption is voluntary with the charity and not required by a pre-existing agreement. That is, the charity must have the legal right to keep the shares, although in practice, it probably want to cash them in and obtain the money by doing that. Tax-wise, though, the deal is not as favorable as it once was. Lower top personal tax rates means the charity deduction saves less tax, and today's low 15% capital gains tax rate offers more after-tax cash from selling the shares. But this is still a valid way to help a charity if that's what you want to do. Just to let you know. Now, next email comes from Priscilla Lockahorn from Palos Verdes, California, asking about a vacant rental, and says, I own a house that I rent out. A family that had rented it moved out before their lease was up. I couldn't rent the house quickly, so it was vacant for several months. Can I deduct my lost rental income? Well, here's the deal. Unfortunately, the answer to your question is no. You have no deductible loss for tax purposes since you received no rental income for several months. You simply report zero rent in your income for that period. But that lack of income combined with your normal operating expenses of maintaining the property may or may not produce a deductible loss from the rental activity. Also, if you believe that you were wronged by your tenant's failure to pay you the rent owed to you under their lease, you can sue them for it under the terms of the lease in your local court system. Now, any award that you receive will be taxable income to you, so just kind of keep that in mind. And my last email comes from Aramis Mendoza from Union City, New Jersey, asking about an IRA contribution. Well, here's the thing. He says, can I contribute stocks that I own to my IRA? If not, can I contribute cash to my IRA and then have it buy the stocks from me? Well, here's the thing, Aramis. The answer to your question, there's two of them. There's no and no. All IRA contributions must be made in cash. The only way that you can actually get an IRA to receive non-cash assets is through a transfer from another retirement account. So here, let me give you an example of that. If an employer-sponsored 401k plan account holds stock shares, they can actually be transferred into an IRA. Now, in addition, an IRA may be disqualified and lose its tax favored status if it engages in any of a list of prohibited transactions. Now, prominent among these is any sale, exchange, or lease with its owner or a member of its owner's immediate family. That means spouse, ancestor, lineal descendant. Now, if you want more information on this, because you don't want to get caught in a bad spot, you can get details at publication 590. That's individual retirement arrangements, and you can get that from the IRS website. And you will be glad that you actually did that, and no question about it. You know what? And I tell you all the time. Always, always, always use a licensed professional when you have questions, you have issues, you need things done. I guarantee you they're going to save you more money than they're going to cost you, and they're going to save you a lot of heartache and frustration, and they're going to save you a lot of penalties. And so basically they generally save you more money than they cost you. So just know that we're encouraging you to do that. Don't try and do this on your own. That would be a big mistake. Now, we're going to go on a short break. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. He'll be talking about new wireless technology. He's going to be talking about new deals that are available. He might even talk about this deal there where the European Union has actually ordered Apple to pay $15 billion in back taxes to Ireland. Maybe the tax structure there isn't as good for corporations as we thought in the past. We'll ask him all about those things. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:57 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 100 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, if you're listening to us in our globally syndicated network and you're in Wichita, Kansas, well, it's 82 degrees and mostly cloudy and humid as heck. Boy, but I'll tell you what, you know where God lives? God lives in Torrance, California, where it's 77 degrees. It's partly cloudy and just waiting for our Dr. Wireless to dip his toes into the Pacific Ocean. Hey, Joel, you out there?
Well, I don't know if God is living in Torrance, but Dr. Wireless is.
You know what? So I generally every week I ask you if you got your toes wet in the good old blue Pacific, and generally every week for the last few weeks you've said no, you haven't done it. So I'm almost afraid to ask. Have you gotten wet this morning?
I did. not.
Oh.
And that's because on Wednesday mornings, I now have these 7 a.m. network meetings, and sometimes after the meeting, I'll try to have a board meeting. But this morning, I had back-to-back meetings, and the wind came up before I could get down there. So toes are dry, I'm afraid.
Oh, shoot. You got to, but this weather is going to go away sometime, you know.
Well, I had a wonderful time yesterday. I have to say that I went a little overboard yesterday and spent a little more time out there than I usually do, and it was a lot better than it usually is. So, not feeling guilty today. I've been productive, and God, do I have news. It's unbelievable.
Well, make hay while the sun shines. I want to hear the news. And by the way, did you hear the comment I made about the European Union ordering Apple to pay almost $15 billion in back taxes to Ireland?
Yeah, I thought I was having a bad day until I heard that.
Well, you know what?
That's a drop in the bucket for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Say, listen, you got a lot of news to talk about. I don't want to get in your way. Let's go to it.
Well, I'm sure you got the pushed out iOS 9.3.5 upgrade today.
IRS?
Not the IRS. Don't want them pushing out anything to us.
Oh, you're talking
Apple iOS.
Oh, I got it.
9.3.5.
Got it yesterday, actually.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Well, I told you don't do those updates right away.
Uh-oh. What did I do?
Not that there's any bad news on this one yet. I haven't heard anything yet about this one.
Oh, you scared the hell out of me, Joel.
Well, I don't think you have, this latest upgrade, unless you're an enemy of Israel, I don't think you have anything to worry about. Apple's not talking about why they pushed this out, but anytime that they do an upgrade, they just pushed 9.3.4 out to us 2 weeks ago, and they've announced they're pushing out iOS 10 mid-September with the new iPhone, usually the third week of September. So why on earth would they push out an update 2 weeks before they're pushing out a brand new software launch?
That doesn't make any sense.
Did you ask yourself that?
No, I didn't think about it.
Well, it'd have to be a pretty major problem to have to do that. And what really irks me is you go on their site trying to figure out what the problem is, and they're not talking. But Dr. Wireless is. And the problem was, and you may have heard about this, there's a company that's based in Israel, and this company, they're actually bought by a San Francisco company, Francisco Partners Management. But the company's called NSO. They're based in Herzliya, and they're a cyber security firm. And what they did is they targeted a gentleman by the name of Ahmed Mansour, and this guy was sent a text message and basically said something to the effect that if you want to see, who is being prosecuted by Saudi Arabia, what dissidents are being prosecuted, click here. And he was suspicious about this because he had been attacked before with this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I guess it had asked him, it was a link, a text message, and it specifically said, click here for information on detainees being tortured in the United Arab Emirates. So, and he was getting ready to click on it, but he figured, you know what? This looks a little suspicious. So he sent it to Citizens Lab in Canada, and they sent it to Lookout, which is a private security firm. Both determined that this was a very, very rare form of spyware, very powerful and capable of turning his phone into a camera and a microphone snoop.
Oh, really?
That would snoop on activities in the vicinity of the device. And what was rare and powerful about it is all of those encrypted apps, WhatsApp and Viber. This was sending information, or would send information, mobile chat rooms, his movements, all of that would be tracked and sent to this lab.
Wow.
So, in any event, he was suspicious. He sent it to these spyware companies, and they identified it as software. And this company in Israel is one of the few companies that has the technology to break into, an Apple iOS product. Mm. So they're not denying it. They're not confirming it. But the bottom line is Apple's not talking about it. But the only reason that I can see that the software came out is because word came out about a week ago of Apple getting hacked, and that Apple having a vulnerability So they're closing the vulnerability.
Well, you know what? So, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, here's the problem, though, Robert. I'm tired of their BS. Because so many times I've done upgrades. I did the 9.3.3 upgrade on my 6S Plus. My battery life is awful now. I don't know what that addressed, but I know that I don't get through the course of a day. I used to get till 9 or 10 o'clock before I got the low battery, before I got down to 20%. Now I'm hitting 20% at 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon. I'm not doing anything differently. Well, the only thing I did is I downloaded new software.
Yeah, you know what? They must have loaded something in there that's running in the background using up that power, right?
It could be. But we've talked about this before, and my philosophy is this. Usually when a company is pushing new software to you, it's because they've got some fixes, some updates, some new functionality. But oftentimes, it's going to cause problems that they don't know about yet. And you can beta test this stuff with a few users, but until millions of users have the product and software and are using it, you really don't know. And that's why I always say I won't upload anything until I do a Google search about 5 days after it's launched. And if I see 50 people that lost their contacts, or some other weird problem, then I know.
I got a friend that's on his Apple product. That's exactly what was happening. All of a sudden he couldn't do emails and he was losing things. And every once in a while I'll have a contact, not all of them. It's like I've got a ton of contacts in my phone. Every once in a while one just disappears.
Yeah, I've had that issue as well. I'll try to call somebody and Siri can't find them, and I look and they're no longer in my contact list.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff can happen, but I caution everybody, don't do these upgrades because Apple tells you need to do an upgrade until you figure out what the upgrade is for. And very often or not, they're harmless, but don't be the first guy on the block to do it, because if there's a problem, you're going to have it, and they're going to end up pushing out, a fix.
Yeah.
So what they pushed out here was a fix because they found out their devices were vulnerable to being remotely accessed and taken over. So Israel does it again. If anybody was going to do it, you figured it would come out of their Silicon Valley over there. They're really sharp.
Yeah.
So the point being, unless you're an enemy of Israel, a member of Hamas, Hezbollah, I wouldn't worry about the upgrade. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just wait for 10.
Isn't it interesting, Joel? We just went through a thing with the FBI where they wanted to be able to hack into an iPhone. They couldn't do it. They went to court. They couldn't do it. Finally, they got it done.
They go to Israel and they do it.
Yeah, and now it looks like a number of companies are doing it.
Yeah, well, it seems like Israel's, if anybody's going to hack in, it seems like they have been able to do it. But there's lots of good stuff. Okay, so some good stuff now. Last week we talked about, the great new T-Mobile rates. Well, they did it again. They got this unlimited T-Mobile One rate that it gets introduced tomorrow. And family of 4 can have unlimited voice, unlimited text, and unlimited data. I'm talking 4G unlimited data, $40 per line.
Oh, you're kidding.
So we're talking $160, 4 lines, unlimited voice, unlimited text, unlimited data. Now, it is standard def, 4G LTE. It's not high def. It's not 1080p or higher. It's 480p, but that's DVD quality, which is fine for most. And again, it's totally unlimited. So you want to watch 20 Netflix movies from your phone, you can do it.
Wow.
So anyhow, good news there. And this was just announced. And what they also did is for hotspots. The problem they had with their hotspots, it was unlimited service, but it was 2G. Snail slow. They've speeded that up to 3G. So they went from 128 to 512. So the hotspot service is much faster now as well.
Joel, you would think, because the hotspot service is something to promote their service, right? You would think they would use the ultimate speed that they could ever get to entice people to use it.
Well, they don't want to do that because then they're tying up too much network bandwidth. The trick is to give the public as much as possible, but to give up as little as possible to keep the bandwidth. And they found a brilliant way to do that. Verizon and AT&T, I don't see them being able to do this. T-Mobile is able to do it. Verizon's actually coming out with something that's going to be very impressive. It's 3 times aggregate speed. So you're going to see really, really fast speeds, like 300 megabits per second on your Verizon cell phones very soon.
Well, let me ask you.
So they're kind of leading the charge.
Yeah, let me ask you this. When we're talking about these super fast speeds, doesn't that pretty much require you to get a new phone that can handle those speeds?
Well, it may. We'll have to see exactly how it works with Verizon, but you do want one of the more current devices. And the reason is there's 23 different frequencies of long-term evolution, LTE, what everybody calls LTE. Mm-hmm. And ideally, I get people on T-Mobile that tell me, oh, my reception isn't that great, my service isn't that great, and I'll ask where. And I find out they're in an area that has great coverage, but the area may not support, or their device may not support the latest rendition, the latest frequency of LTE. Mm. And all the carriers now have this extended LTE, which is faster, but you have to have a current phone that supports it. So yes, in many cases, you're better off having a current phone because it is supporting all of your carrier's frequencies, which means you're going to have a better experience. Mm. Wow. So anyhow, good news. We have great rates. T-Mobile's got better rates than they did a week ago. And officially tomorrow, this stuff launches. Anybody who wants to move over can hit me up. Very simple to seamlessly move people over. It's ridiculous. It's unlimited. Any big data user would be a knucklehead not to go on this program.
Let me ask you. Every week we talk about, just using it as an example, T-Mobile getting a better rate plan and Verizon getting another rate plan and all these things going on. And the guy that actually jumped on that last week is a loser because this week it went lower, right?
No, not so. And this is the beauty of cellular. You can take a deal. The only way you can get hurt in wireless is if you jump off a grandfathered deal for a new deal. What T-Mobile's doing is this, and there are some valid reasons to stay on the old program. And if anybody wants to know, anybody thinking about doing this should contact me, joel@drwireless.com, before busting the move, because there are a few cases where you would do better on these new plans, or on the old plans. The old plans still support the full speed data. And one of the things, and I'm still letting the dust settle to determine the differences, but one of the things I noticed that if you're using an iPad and tethering it to your iPhone, mm-hmm. With the older plans, I've got plans that were offering up to 14 gigabytes of 4G. I'm talking high speed, 1080p and higher. So somebody who wants the fastest possible speeds for their iPad will do better with the old plan because it's still offering the super high G. The new plan, they're giving you the 480p, which is for 99% of most people is fine. But for that 1% that wants blazing faster speeds, it's $25 a line to add that to the new plan. But it's included with the old plan.
Gotcha.
So it's you need to know when to bust a move and when not to bust that move, because here's the problem. Anytime T-Mobile or any other carrier comes out with a better deal, if you're on an existing plan that you like, you're grandfathered. You can keep that existing plan as long as you want. But should you move to the new deal, which may be better, may look better, may not be better once you read the fine print, you cannot go back to a grandfathered plan because it's no longer in the computer, can no longer be offered. So once you vacate the ship on an old grandfathered deal, there is no going back. But the beauty of it is you have a choice of staying where you are or taking the new deal. But you need somebody like me who can give you the pros and cons, because it's very difficult to discern the negatives on these new plans. Nobody's really talking about the speeds of iPads or the hotspot speeds, the downsides of these plans. And again, for most people, they're great. They wouldn't even notice. But for somebody used to high speed, and somebody, using the hotspot functionality, using the iPad functionality, tethering to their device, they will see a difference.
You know what? It gets to be so confusing for the regular consumer that they absolutely have to have a professional like you to guide them through this thing, because basically they're just kind of lost little sheep. They haven't got a clue.
Well, some of these people that did have a clue, were complaining to T-Mobile. Even before this new T-Mobile One was launched. It was supposed to go live September 7th. Sprint beat them to the punch. Sprint has a deal, 2 lines, $100, unlimited everything. So Sprint has a deal similar. So T-Mobile came out with their deal first, but people are already complaining about the speeds of the hotspots being only 2G. So today, I guess it was yesterday, T-Mobile quadrupled the speeds of the hotspots. For no extra cost. So the good thing is T-Mobile listens.
Yeah, you know what?
And before I forget, Robert, I just wanted to, because I'm always forgetting to mention this, I posted on our Facebook page the 16 hottest tips and tricks that we like. So if you get a chance, click on that, and maybe your users can throw us a like at the same time.
Absolutely.
But I have it up there, and it's good information. It's Facebook/DR Wireless. I think I also have it on our blog as well, drwireless.com/blog. But it's our 16 favorite iPhone tips and tricks.
Sounds great. Can you just give us a highlight of subjects?
I can do that. Before I do that, I just want to talk about another thing. Anybody out there that's got an iPhone 6S or 6S Plus, there's now a class action lawsuit to Apple over the so-called touch disease. And anybody and they call it Bengate because it has to do with people who keep it in their back pocket. But Apple changed the construction of their phones for the S series, and they went from like a piece of tape. They went from a piece of metal to a piece of tape for the construction of the device, and it's causing problems. So anybody who's getting like a gray, shaky band at the top of the device and finding that the thing is not responding to touch regularly has touch disease.
Well, you were having a problem like that at one time, weren't you?
I'm having other issues. I'm not quite having touch disease. I am having issues where sometimes I'll try to end the call and I'll hit the red button and nothing happens. So I am having issues. The touch disease, totally nothing responds and you get the flickering at the top. So any of your listeners who have one of these devices, 6S, 6S Plus, see flickering at the top and are having a problem when they touch the device and having it respond, that's called touch disease. Apple's not acknowledging there's a problem, but that's the beauty of the Internet. Wow. There's thousands of people that have this issue, and a California legal firm just finally pulled the trigger and is starting a class action suit. You know what? It's so ridiculous that Apple wouldn't.
They're just blowing their reputation and their integrity right out the window. They've enjoyed such a prestige spot, being held on a pedestal, being transparent, being the tough guy, being the guy that was really out there. And now they're keeping things from their customers and they're hiding things that they could be fixing easily. This is just ridiculous.
It's got me so upset that I was ready to get myself a Note 7. You want to know why I didn't?
Well, I'm guessing. Here's the thing. Do you have a lot of music and a lot of stuff on your phones, a lot of apps? Because that's going to require you to buy all those things all over again, right?
Well, the beauty of the Note 7 is they're given a 256 gigabyte card with the device. The device comes with 64 gigs. So, you get 320 gig of memory. The most memory you can get on Apple's 128 gig, and you can't expand it because there's no SD card.
Why didn't you get it?
Apple's at a disadvantage for that reason. That Note 7, everything I was reading about, it's terrific, except I was reading that they now have slowed down production, and they're putting the current devices through a very rigid quality control before they're shipping. So there's a delay in shipping. I did some research, and it turns out these devices were first released in South Korea, and there's a problem with batteries exploding.
Oh, geez. Nice phone to be sitting on, huh?
Exactly, literally speaking. So I'm going to hold off for a little bit on that one. As much as I love the device, there may be a battery issue. So, but here's what I'm going to recommend. Apple traditionally releases their devices the third week of September. This looks like no exception. We don't know if it's going to be called the the 7. We don't know if it's going to be called the 6SE. We do know there's a new device coming the third week of September. We know it's going to be announced September 7th. We know iOS 10 is also coming. And we also know that every time Apple makes one of these announcements, September 7th, usually by September 8th or 9th, all of the Apple line, the current models, drop $100.
Oh.
So that means anybody thinking about buying an iPhone, and again, I am personally not endorsing this new phone for a few reasons. One, I don't know anything about it, and B, I've been told there's really no major changes in it. I've heard the camera's a little better. It's got an optical zoom. It's got the Lightning connector. I might have an A10 faster processor. I've been told there's not going to be any real substantial differences between the S series. Well, guess what? I'm not crazy about the S series. I regret giving my 6 to my wife. I had an iPhone 6, 128 gig. I gave it up. Better phone than the 6S.
Let's talk more about that right after these brief messages. We have to go on a short break. When we come back, I want you to give out some contact information, and then let's talk about why you regret giving up that 6S. We'll be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's going down. It's 99 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, well, you know what? Is that right? No, it's 64 degrees and it's clear. You know, the bad part about that is it's already tomorrow and it's only 30 minutes after midnight there. If you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 55 degrees and clear and it's 1:24 in the morning there. So it's not all that terrific when you think about it. But I'll tell you where it is terrific. It's terrific in the mind of our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Salzman. Hey, Joel, you got the microphone, my friend.
All right. I didn't know if you heard about this, Robert, but a lot of people ask me, I sell hosted solutions and cloud services, and people are always saying, well, why do I want to pay for cloud when I can get Box, I can get Dropbox, I can get iCloud, I can get all these services for free? It's a hard answer sometimes, but apparently it's security is the answer, and you don't have... When you have a public cloud up there that anybody can access, the lack of security is frightening. Apparently, 60 million Dropbox users had their credentials available on the internet. So I guess there was a reuse of an employee's password. Led to the theft of over 60 million users' credentials, emails, and some passwords. They say they were hashing the passwords and people didn't have access, but I'm not sure about that. So good argument to for people, who have business information that they do want to keep confidential. Better to spend a few bucks and get yourself a secure cloud. I can help with that stuff as well.
Oh, absolutely. Makes sense.
Just wanted to point that out.
Well, you know what? And you haven't, what we need you to do too, Joel, because I cut you off, for some reason, we started early, but we wound up leaving on our commercial break late. And usually we have you give out your contact information, and we neglected to do that. Why don't you do that now before I forget again?
Yeah, I was on a roll because I used up all the time. But again, everything we're talking about today can be accessed on our website, www.drwireless.com. That's drwireless.com. If you like our content, please give us a like and tell your friends about us. We're out here to make life easy and save you money. And we do that by talking about a lot of the stuff the carriers don't really want you to know. So also I can be contacted, anybody with any specific questions, Joel at drwireless.com. And again, we also have a lot of this content that we're talking about today on our Facebook page, Facebook/drwireless.
Okay, so that now we're talking. Now we're talking. And I got to tell you, the minute I'm off the air, I am going to go to Facebook's/Dr. Wireless and look at those 16 items. You said you'd kind of give us a highlight of them.
Well, I have two things interesting. I have 20 things you didn't know your iPhone could do. I have that on our Facebook page. And, I guess I can give you a few tips. I want people to go there, but, we can certainly throw you a few bones.
Well, you know what? Actually, I was thinking more in terms of not telling them how, because they can get that by going to Facebook/Dr. Wireless. Just tell them what it is that they're going to learn that they can do.
Okay. Well, they can create special shortcuts with texting on the keyboard. They can increase their security by changing the numbers to letters. They can go from 4 digits to 6-digit security codes. They can use easy web suffixes. There's a way of by going into landscape mode, you can get a detailed calendar, more information than you normally see. I got an easy way to access email drafts. You know how you start composing an email and you get distracted, and then all of a sudden you want to go back and you can't find it?
Yeah.
Don't know if that's ever happened to you.
Oh, yeah.
Easy way to find it. Have an easy way to do autofocus and exposure. Got an easy way to take pictures without having to hit the center of your screen. You can hit the volume up, volume down button, or your microphone on your earbuds. Got a great way to scan credit card numbers. We got all kinds of stuff.
Oh, sounds good.
I'm going to leave that for people to go there and check it out. I did want to mention that T-Mobile and Verizon were just rated in a low latency test, and they rated best, well above the other carriers, Sprint and AT&T. Low latency, for people who don't really know what that means, it has to do with how fast you can open an app. There's more to it than just data speeds. And low latency measures if you and you're with AT&T and I'm with T-Mobile. If we both had the same exact data speeds and we both opened up the same application, I'm going to open it before you.
Really?
And that's because both T-Mobile and Verizon were tops in low latency, and AT&T and Sprint were not. So it just means if you're with AT&T or Sprint, it's taking you longer to get these applications open and running. And it's called latency, and it's one of those things, it's kind of like cholesterol. You want it to be low, not high.
That's for sure.
So anyhow, I thought that was kind of interesting. Verizon, is really no surprise, but T-Mobile's right on their tail. So that's kind of surprising. AT&T is usually right behind Verizon, but in this case, that's not happening.
And probably by design. There's a wait and see for them, right?
Yeah, we'll have to see. And then, as we touched on this new carrier aggregation, 300 megabits per second is blazing fast. So anybody looking for super, super fast speeds, we're going to see super fast speeds. And this may be why T-Mobile is throttling down, offering 4G LTE, but at 480p instead of 1080p or 14K or actually 4000K they have now. So we'll have to see about how that shakes out.
Wow.
So how have you been doing with your phone service? Everything working well?
Everything is working really well. I called AT&T the other day because I got another one of those $180 bills, and I says, hey, I was told by an expert that I could make a real simple move and get my bill reduced by about $60. And I was complaining, and they right on the spot lowered it to $117 from $180.
They have to, because they're losing so many people so fast. There's really not much they can do. I had somebody call me the other day and say, "Did you know that AT&T has a deal where if you buy an iPhone 6S Plus, they'll give you a second one at equal value for free?"
Yeah, in fact,
I said, of course they'll do that. They can't match anything that T-Mobile or Verizon are doing with their rates. They can't give you unlimited data unless you buy a DirecTV or a U-verse plan with it.
Yeah.
Of course they need to do something to get everybody from leaving. They have the highest data rates of all carriers. So what can you offer? And obviously a nice shiny iPhone.
Yeah.
So that's their deal. And
now you were saying earlier you regretted giving your wife your 6 Plus.
I do, and my 6. I did. I had an iPhone 6 128 gig device, which worked perfectly. And I just got tired of putting on my glasses to read email. And I noticed that the 6S Plus had a bigger screen, and Apple said it was better, and it had this 3D touch functionality. And I figured it was going to give me what I had, but some more functionality and a bigger screen. And boy, did I make a mistake. This new phone, it did have better battery life, substantially better battery life, until I did this 9.3.3 update. And since then, it took a dump. The accelerometer is terrible.
You need to tell your wife, honey, I feel so bad that I took the newest and the greatest that I'm going to go ahead and trade phones with you so you can have the better phone.
If she didn't listen to this show, I could do that.
Okay, I should have kept my...
And now she knows about the 6S touch disease, and she knows that my accelerometer is lagging. That's when you turn the device into landscape mode, and then you turn it back. And a normal iPhone, when you turn it one direction, if you turn it vertical, the screen goes vertical. You turn it landscape, the screen goes landscape. Yeah. My phone will stay stuck sometimes for seconds before it flips, and I got to shake it, and it's just really starting to irritate me. And now I'm hearing about the 6S touch disease. I don't have that yet, but I've got maybe some symptoms. So I'm just thinking at this point, the latest technology isn't always the best. The 5S was one of the best phones I ever owned, and if the screen was a little bigger, I would have probably got that SE model. I think that SE model, which is a 5S with the 6S guts, may be one of the best phones on the market. I haven't heard of any problems. I love the 6, but people are having issues with the 6S, and I have no reason to go with this new one so far. From what I'm hearing, the 10th anniversary of Apple is next year, not this year, and I'm hearing there's massive changes. That's going to be the iPhone you want. Yeah. You're not going to want it the first day or the first week, but I'm convinced that next year is going to be the game changer.
So I need to hang on to my phone and give it to my wife after that one comes out.
Yeah, well, that one may be an interesting, from what I'm seeing, they're talking about some major changes. But my recommendation today is anybody out there who wants an iPhone, I would be looking at a 664 gig or a 628 gig. They've been out for a couple years. They're proven. They work well. The functionality difference between the 6 and the 6S is minimal. I mean, the camera may be a little better on the 6S, but the aggravation isn't worth it. So, just my take. I would probably go with the 6.
So here's what you need to do.
It's $100 cheaper. You need $200 cheaper in a few days.
You need to put this in your calendar. When that new phone comes out with all the new bells and whistles and dramatic changes, you need to remember to remind me, because I will go right out and get it, and I'll be your guinea pig.
And you'll do that software, that iOS 10 upgrade day number 1 too.
I'll be your guinea pig for that too.
Somebody's got to do it.
Absolutely. Somebody's got to do that kind of stuff. So listen, we got 2 minutes before we have to go. What would you like to talk about?
Well, I'm just going to say one last thing in closing. It was a good day for AT&T because they just had a court case dismissed. And what they were doing is they were basically selling an unlimited data plan, and they weren't offering unlimited data.
Oh, really?
They weren't disclosing that they were going to reduce the customers' data speeds if they used more than a certain amount of data. So they were doing what all the carriers were doing at about 22, 23 gigs. They were slowing people down. And the difference is T-Mobile discloses that. And AT&T, you can't sell people an unlimited plan without disclosing it in the fine print. And they do now.
Yeah.
But they got off the hook on that.
Well, you know what? But why was it dismissed? I mean, did they correct it? Is that why it was dismissed?
Probably good attorneys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they may have felt sorry for AT&T. They fined AT&T $100 million for the practice last year.
Oh, gee, many Christmas.
It wasn't like they didn't make any money.
Don't they ever learn their lessons? Gee, many Christmas. Hey, Joel, let's take the next 20 seconds and give out that contact information one more time.
All right. Again, everything we've discussed today can be had at Facebook/DR Wireless, or go to our site, www.drwireless.com. A lot of this information is on our blog. And if anybody has any questions about this stuff and wants to know whether they should bust a move on any of the new programs, email me, joel@drwireless.com.
All right. So, Joel, today or tomorrow, go out, get those toes wet, enjoy yourself. I know you will. Make it a wonderful, wonderful week, the rest of the week for you and weekend to keep everybody happy, keep yourself happy, and keep yourself safe.
Likewise. Going to get the toes wet for you, Robert.
All right. That's my boy. All right. The rest of you folks do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and Interesting, but useless facts. Tell you all about it after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 99 degrees. It's down from 102 here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way to 68 degrees. That'll be nice. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network, easy for me to say, right? And you happen to be in Madrid, Spain, well, it's 77 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Tokyo, Japan, it's 83 degrees and it is sunny. It's also tomorrow and it's 8:42 in the morning. Just so you'll know what the heck. You know what? But let's get to our Harvard business tip of the day. The management tip today is do not share office gossip with your new coworker. You know what? It might be tempting to bend your new coworker's ear and let him in on all of the office dirt. You may even think you're helping him out by giving him the inside scoop. But sharing the ins and outs of office politics with the newcomer isn't always advisable. Doing so could reflect badly on you and bias him against his new coworkers. Of course, you can help your new colleague get acclimated to the office, but check your motives first. Are you trying to make life easier for him or get him on your side? Even if your intentions are positive, carefully choose the information that you share. After all, you don't know what your new colleague might tell others, exposing you and possibly damaging your reputation. Follow this simple rule. Only share what you would be comfortable sharing with everyone. Act as if everybody's listening. Make sense? Sure it does. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life. And you know that this is all about a positive mental attitude. I'm convinced, and so are a lot of people, that you control your life, every part of it. When you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror, and you say, I'm going to have a wonderful, productive, profitable day today. And that's exactly what's going on. You decide whether you're going to be happy or sad. You're going to be a success or a failure, whether you're going to be rich or poor. You're going to decide all that thing, whether the people around you are going to be happy. So go ahead and do it. Do yourself a favor. Take control of your life. You already have control, you just don't know it. So our secret for today is, if you have trouble visualizing, just feel what you want. Feeling is equally powerful. Whether you feel it or imagine it in pictures, both are creating. You'll know which one works best for you by how you feel. Feeling good is the key to creation. Yeah, it's a positive mental attitude. That, my friends, is what it's all about. Well, you know what today is? Today is Wednesday. It is August the 31st, last day of August, and it is somebody's birthday. Oh, yeah, we've got some great birthdays for you today. And you know what? Actually, we only have a couple of them, but the first one is a fellow that was born in 1945. The Hall of Fame introductions began in 1993 with the rock and a critically acclaimed singer and songwriter who was the first inductee to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Happy birthday, Van Morrison. And here's somebody that most all of you will know. Born in 1949, an actor who came to prominence in 1980 for his role in the film American Gigolo, which established him as a leading man and a sex symbol. Happy birthday, Richard Gere. Yeah. Well, if you're wondering what happened today in history, I'm about to tell you. On August the 31st, 1803, Lewis and Clark start their expedition to the west by leaving Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at 11 o'clock in the morning. And in 1897, Thomas Edison patents the kinescope, the first movie projector. Yeah. Can you imagine? And then finally, on August the 31st, 1997, Diana, Prince of Wales, and her companion, Dodi Al-Fayed, and driver Henri Paul died as a result of a car crash in Paris. Well, our quote for today comes from Fran Lebowitz, and get this one. Stand firm in your refusal to remain conscious during algebra. In real life, I assure you, there is no such thing as algebra. Yeah, well, go figure. Anyway, you know what? It's time for those interesting but useless facts. We got a few of them for you, so let's get right on it. You know what? The famous Russian composer Alexander Borodin was also a respected chemistry professor in St. Petersburg. I didn't know either one. How about this? This one you'll know. Elton John's real name is Reginald Dwight. Eldon comes from Elton Dean, a bluesology sax player. John comes from Long John Baldry, founder of the Blues Incorporated. They were the first electric white blues band ever seen in England, and that was back in 1961. Well, let me give you another one of these. You know what? Although the combination of chili peppers and oregano for seasoning has been traced to the ancient Aztecs, the present blend is said to be the invention of early Texans. Chili powder today is typically a blend of dried chilies, garlic powder, red peppers, oregano, and cumin. Yeah, just in case you were wondering, which I doubt. Try this one on for size. You know that nearly all reptiles lay shelled eggs? Let me give you this for an example. Frisbee got its name from William Russell Frisbee, who was a pie maker. Now, he used to sell his pies in a thin tin pan, which had Frisbee written on it. When Walter Frederick Morrison thought of the idea of making saucer-like discs to catch, He visited the campus of Yale and noticed people there were using the pie pan to play catch, so he therefore names his new invention to Frisbee. Yeah, that's where it got his name. That's kind of interesting. I didn't know that. How about this? You know, about 70% of Americans who go to college do it just to make more money. I would think so. At least you would hope so. Try this on for size. Panthers are known as black leopards, as they are the same species of leopard. If looked at closely, black spots can be seen on a panther. That's kind of interesting. Did you know that a cat can jump 5 times as high as it is tall? That's interesting. You try it. You know, the density of Saturn is so low that if you were to put it in a giant glass of water, it would float. Give that some thought, I think. Did you know that those British are sophisticated people in almost everything except their choice of coffee? They still drink instant 10-to-1 over fresh brewed. Can you believe that? Those people are nuts. Absolutely dingbats, if you think about it. Let me leave you with this one. The word pure appears on the scroll held by the Quaker pictured on the packages of Quaker Oats cereal. Yeah. Now, don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. We'll be right back, folks. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry and a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And it's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And the story today is, hey, they loved Lucy. Not what you think. If you looked around long enough, you'd probably find I Love Lucy scrawled on some national monument in Washington, D.C. And it would be testimony to one of the most ravishing and popular bachelorettes in the history of our nation's capital. Now, this dates back a long time before Fanny Fox and Elizabeth Ray, and by drawing the correlation, I don't mean to imply that Lucy's morals were questionable, but she was ravishing and she was popular, and just about any young bachelor who was anybody was probably in love with Lucy. Well, Lucy Lambert Hale, she was the younger daughter of John P. Hale, one of the New Hampshire Civil War senators. When she was only 12, a Harvard freshman named Will Chandler was sending her love poems. Lucy was quite fond of the young man, but she was only 12, and it didn't get much further than correspondence. It's a matter of coincidence that young Will grew up to become Secretary of the Navy and finally a United States Senator from New Hampshire. Maybe it was partly a coincidence. You see, lovely Lucy Hale seemed to attract the more noteworthy gentlemen of Washington, especially when they were yet to become noteworthy. Lucy could pick a star, you might say. Lucy Hale was 16 when she met Oliver. He was 2 years older than she, but still no match. Like Will Chandler, Oliver was a Harvard student. He met Lucy while vacationing in Maine and began writing her love letters as soon as he returned to Cambridge. She changed schools from Hanover in New Hampshire to boarding school in Boston, presumably to be closer to Oliver. But at the same time, she was moving closer to the entire Harvard University. It would seem that the competition was too much for Oliver, and so instead of devoting his life to the lovely Lucy Hale, he went on to become the man you know as Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. Well, there's no other man, and there is another man on the list of Lucy's luminary lovers, another beau in her bouquet. Perhaps through him, some additional light might be shed on a time-worn topic. This fellow was far and away her most experienced suitor. His name was John, and he was a known ladies' man. That's probably why he chose to remain unknown during their first acquaintance. John sent Lucy a letter right out of the blue on Valentine's Day of 1862. He said, "My dear Miss Hale, were it not for the license which a time-honored observance of this day allows, I had not written you this poor note. You resemble in the most remarkable degree a lady very dear to me, now dead, and your close resemblance to her surprised me the first time I saw you. This must be my apology for any apparent rudeness noticeable. To see you has indeed afforded me a melancholy pleasure. If you can conceive of such, and should we never meet, nor I see you again, believe me, I shall always associate you in my memory with her, who was very beautiful, and whose face, like your own, I trust was a faithful index of gentleness and amiability. With 1,000 kind wishes for your future happiness, I am to you a stranger." Well, of course, John made certain that Lucy could easily discover his identity, and she did discover it, and they got together, and they became engaged. Did that result in the rest of the story? Just as this was Lucy's heretofore most serious involvement, there is every indication that it was John's too. John the ladies' man, a mere lad of 24 and already sought after, already enormously popular himself. Lady Killer John had been captivated and captured by barely 20-year-old Lucy Hale. When he fell hard. There were many jealousies in that long courtship. The lovers were still quarreling in the spring of 1865. They quarreled through President Lincoln's second inaugural address, the tickets to which Lucy had obtained from her senator father. They quarreled the night after John discovered, luckily, dancing that Robert Lincoln, the president's eldest son, at the National Hotel in Washington. I've made reference to the Lincoln family for a couple of reasons. In the first place, it helps to keep the date straight in our minds. And in the second place, President Lincoln had recently appointed Lucy's father ambassador to Spain. Lucy was getting ready to go with him. What I'm trying to say is that John had a number of good reasons to hold a grudge against the Lincolns. And though I'm not saying that those reasons might justify or even explain what John did shortly thereafter, they could serve as a clue or a key to unlock an already twisted mind. For Lucy, there was a happy ending. She eventually married Will Chandler, the Harvard man-tuned senator who sent her love poems when she was 12. But it would be many years before she could forget her first fiancé, the dashing young actor, the lady killer no one but Lucy could tame, and perhaps not even she, John Wilkes Booth. And now you know the rest of the story.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.